go. Hello, welcome to the Tabletop Sports Network. I'm your host, Rob, and it is the home of...
the tSports of the nation.
Perfect. You may have watched us talking just and saying no words.
If you were good at lip reading, you would have done fine.
Exactly. Welcome to round 4 of the Sheffield Slaughter 2020 here in Sheffield, the world's longest running fantasy-esque AOS event. 80 players looking to take out the tournament. We had a great day yesterday, and we've got 2 rounds today. Round 4, very exciting. We had a very good intro all sorted out. Nathan, quick thoughts. How was your game yesterday? Not game, how was your day yesterday?
It was great, yeah. Lots of entertaining games. Lots of terrible dice rolling. It was typical Age of Sigmar day, really.
Yes, absolutely. Right, we're going to jump straight in to our games. Game 1, we've got Luke Morton. Now, we talked about Luke. Luke has actually gone to 2 events, and he's won 2 events. Yeah? Top, please. He's won 2 events, and so he's looking to take another event out. He hasn't gone to an event and not taken the trophy home so far. He's up against Ben of his Kharadron Overlords, who we saw play on the stream yesterday. Saw him play against them Fire Slayers. Yeah. Nathan, you were saying about the mobility.
Yes, looks like the mobility that the Kharadron bring to the field is probably second to none, I'd say, amongst armies at the moment, with all the teleporting shenanigans they have from their boats. The flying high means they going all over the place. Obviously, the eels in the Idoneth Deepkin are also super fast, but they're and with their ambushing shenanigans, the eels can pretty much pop up anywhere and basically get to charge what they want. But the Kharadron can disengage and teleport all over the place and pick targets with their guns. So, but you would say this one is probably in the eels' favour from the get-go.
I would
better
say
in a fight, and the Idoneth having that ability where you have to shoot the closest unit means he can dictate what gets shot at more often than not.
So he is, but I think he's already making the great decision, and I think he's going straight after the thrall. So we've heard in the shooting phase, he's already gone after the thralls. And I got to say,
so frigates are taken out there was actually a thrall screen, which is normally we just see Luke with his eels and a couple of birds and things flying around.
We do that, so we actually had some thralls. Yeah, so Luke famous for the MSU eel build. So instead of now, there's another eel build in contention to take the event out, but it could be down to anyone to take this out. We'll come back to this game in a moment. I just want to flick through quickly the other games and let you know what's going on. Okay, I'll let everyone know. So over on table 2, they're still deploying and they're still getting into it. So we've got ages to go on this game. So don't worry about it. We are playing escalation. So it's those 3 objectives, as you can see in the center, and it's going to be all about claiming those objectives. Now you have to start further back, and as you can see, we've got cities of Sigmar that have started to deploy in that backfield. We saw Joe play yesterday with his Pistoliers army.
Yes, the 8th. Something
8th Strike Force.
Yeah, them fellas.
And he's up against Chris, who I played previously with his Flesh Eater Court. So he's got Blisterkin and he's got Dead Watch. So
also very fast, yeah.
The 8th Guard Windrunner. It says it in the overlay. That's what it is. So yeah, they're also very, very fast and also looking to drop bravery and do shooting. So you've got a very interesting build here. Joe's got. I'll put the list in the chat in a moment. But that's going to be a really fun matchup. Any of these players could take the event out, so there's loads to talk about. Game 3, we've got the Ossiarch Bonereapers. JP, moving on from Slanesh last year, moving on to his Ossiarchs. Took out the last year's champion yesterday. If you're listening to Owen's infield reporting, you'll have heard that he dropped the steel from his catapult, so his...
crawlers,
His crawlers, His crawlers, and they took out the middle character of a middle model. So
middle Auric of a line of orcs.
There's a line of Aurics that I've just drawn on the screen. Took out the middle one, which meant half, either this half or this half, had to battle shock off in the battle phase. So an incredibly smart play there. And he did it twice to 2 different blocks of 15. and he's up against Nurgle. We saw James play yesterday with his Blessed Sons.
Yeah, we saw that game yesterday. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, very excited to see if Gutrot Spume is going to still be fighting it out on the tabletop somewhere.
Yeah, well, he's going to want Gutrot to come out and probably try and tie up those crawlers.
Yeah.
Because the crawlers have got a minimum shooting distance. So if you can get a character or a small unit of Blight Kings and stops them shooting for a couple of turns until they get dealt with or until the crawlers go down. So that's cool. And we've got the Blights
we'll talk more about that in a minute. I just want to jump back to table 1 because we've already seen a unit of Thralls taken out now in shooting, and we've seen three. I think we've seen 3 Eels taken up now,
and some Aetherwings as well taken out. So you had little unit of Aetherwings that had been allied in. They've all been shot to shreds. The unit of Thralls. And so yeah, we've seen quite a few casualties, but I think Luke's obviously not put all of his Eels on the board. He's still got 6 and a 3, so he's got a unit of 6, which is unusual for him. It's not following his pure MSU build that he took to the previous tournament. So he's got a unit of 6 and a unit of 3.
I wonder what's changed since Facehammer, where he did take away the Facehammer prize. I wonder what's changed since Facehammer, where he's decided that now he very much needs to get into. He needs to have a bigger unit of 6 to do it. Now, don't forget, obviously, Luke famous at this stage for being the salmon cannon. That's what we call him. He has all them fish, as Tom is saying in the chat. He's got all those fish, and they are out there looking to just sling themselves forward.
But the Kharadron have got real cannons.
Yeah, that's the real issue, I think, is that they've got real cannons. But we have quickly heard, just so you guys know, that Game 2 is kicked off. It has been James has been on table 3.
Yeah.
There we go. I'll get this right. James has been given the opportunity to decide who goes first. He's given it to JP with his Ossiarch Bonereapers. He generated 7 relentless discipline points. We'll see what he does with them. We'll see what the crawlers do in the shooting phase. But before we do that, we'll find out what happens at the rest of the tournament. We've got Mr. Owen Jackson, who's an angel. I just want everyone to know that. And we're going to talk about it. He's going to let us know what's happening in the rest of the event.
Cheers, Rob. Thanks very much. Yep, that's right. The Slaughter Troop have rolled back into the Davy Sports Sport Club. And yeah, we're here for day 2, as we like to call it, the Serious Slaughter Sunday. So we had a fun day yesterday, obviously lots of high-level play, but today's when things start to get serious. Obviously, people vying for the title. So we've got a number of players. I think there's 5 tables, 10 games where there's 3 and O's. A couple of minors mixed in there, but there's still 10 people vying to become the Slaughter 2020 champion. So yeah, it's all to play for. So looking across the tables, we've got let's start looking at some of the high 2-1s. So there's some names in there you'll recognize from yesterday. We've basically got Mark Wildman bringing his Zinch, Duplicitous hosts Zinch, which we realized last night. I believe, if we get it right, you can bring Archaon back on a 5-up in host Duplicitous, which is naughty. And also he's facing off against Ben Van Boel with like a Chariot Heavy Slanesh Godseekers list. Then Parr, fresh from punking a Ghoul King on Terrorgeist with 2 scrap launchers. He's rolled in his Bloodgullet Ogres into Tom Fretwell's Deepkin, Domheim Deepkin. Lots of Deepkin up on the top tables. Table 7, Josh McHale in his first ever Warhammer tournament brought 60 Hearthguard Berserkers, and he's facing off against a Hallowheart list, which I had a look at. Hallowheart leans obviously very heavily on the magic and the shooting. He's got Bridge, obviously, Handgunners, Purple Sun, Geminids, all that good stuff. Table 6 is a Scribes Club Clash. We've got Alex Bruce and Tom Bell of the Scribes of War. Alex with his KO Zilfin, and then Tom with his Big War. Table 5, Liam Jordan with his Petrifex OBR against Declan, who you saw on the stream yesterday with his Khorne. 4 is Greg Shelton with a Blister Skin list, Flesh Eater Quartz Blister Skin, facing off against the Jelly Shot King himself, Mr. Lee Bromley, with his More Tribes. And then finally, Nikos with his Winterbite Ogres, is facing Andy Hughes again with Fire Slayers. Now moving to the 2 games which aren't on the stream but do include 3-0s. We've got Stephen Follows with his Underguts Ogres. He's facing off against Tony Moore with Legions of Nagash. And then over my right shoulder, James Tinsdale with his Deepkin is facing off against Gabe Huddleston's Big War. So across the top 10 armies, it's really great spread of armies we've got there. There's only 2 factions which have duplicates. So there's 2 Deepkin and 2 Flesh Eater Courts. And then we've got an OBR, a Kharadron Overlords, a Big War, Nurgle, Blessed Sons Nurgle, cities, and some more tribes. So yeah, that just gives you a little feel for what's going on in the room behind me. At this point, I think there's so much to see on the stream. I'm going to pass you back to Rob and Nathan in the booth. Back to you, boys.
Thanks very much, Owen. Great work there. Right, so jumping back to Table 1 very quickly, Idoneth have had their turn. As we said, Kharadron Overlords, they've had their turn. We're into the movement phase now for Deepkin straight away. Very little shooting to come out of this army, so it's all going to be about the placement, where we see these eels go. We've seen 3 straight away going into the Ironclad there. Now, what you can't forget is obviously they've got some anti-flying abilities, these boats, these sky vessels, right? So they've got the ability to drop bombs. They've also they can also re-roll their saves. So those 3 eels, which previously was 6 eels, aren't going to do as good as they potentially could have done. Going into there, but as you can see, there's another unit moving here, progressing, looking to claim this center objective. The center objective can't currently be claimed, can't be claimed until turn 2. We'll come back to this in a minute to see where Luke's decided to go. What do you think his targets are going to be?
Well, I think he's going to try and lock boats down, but the problem is some of these boats can disengage and fly high no matter how many wounds they've taken, the gun haulers, so they're great in this situation. The Ironclad and the frigates, once they've taken a certain amount of wounds, they can't
fly high,
but they can still retreat and still shoot. They still have the disengage rule.
They've got a disengage rule, but they can't fly.
But they're flying units.
Yeah, so because the eels are flying units, and because the eels are flying units, it means it negates the special ability that the sky vessels have. So this is a harder matchup for KO than it looks like initially. But so normally what they would do is they get charged like this, and then they get out of dodge. But now they're not going to be able to. But you are. But you are going to be able to shoot into combat. I just want to jump around to the other tables to keep everyone up to date.
Barrack Sylphan, they obviously have the bonuses against the flying eels.
Of course, reroll 1s to hit against them. So in Game 2, we've seen Game 2 kick off, and we've seen that Joe, with his Cities of Sigmar, his very unique list that you can see in that bottom right-hand corner there, he has given Chris Green, who I've played previously with a KO army at Bobo maybe 2 or 3 years ago, really nice competitor, plays super fair. He is up against that Flesh Eater Courts, that Blisterkin force. Now, obviously, they've had to move a unit of. They're not called Flesh Hounds, are they? They're called Direwolves into the centre there. I think that's Direwolves in the middle, Benjamin. And then we will. And then he's obviously had to move his Flayers. Now his Flayers really are where he's going to do all of the work. Yeah, so those 10 Direwolves we can see in the centre. He's got 2 units of 6 Crypt Flayers and a unit of 3 Kept Flayers, and he's in Dead Watch, and he's also paid that extra 50 points for a command point. But he's got an Abhorrent Arc Regent as his general, and he's got an Abhorrent Ghoul King on Royal Terrorgeist. Now, I think both of these armies, so the Crypt Flayers can do some really solid shooting and combat. The real issue, though, is that Abhorrent Ghoul King on Royal Terrorgeist, and if he decides to get into this meat here. Now, on Joe's side, Joe's rocking a Hurricanum, you can see centered there. Yep. He's got Pistoliers and Outriders in various numbers. He's got a Griffin, who's his general, right there, that Free Guild General Griffin. So he's really important because he's got the command trait Hawkeye. So he's getting +1 to wound to units around him in the shooting phase, which is really important. Then he's got 10 Outriders, 5 more Outriders. He's got 15 Pistoliers. He's got another 10 Pistoliers, and then he's got 2 lots of 10 Pistoliers. Pistoliers have got really cool ability, right, Nath?
So Pistoliers are great. They can shoot again when they finish the charge move.
So you basically get 2 shooting phases out of them,
exactly.
which I think is really, really clever. Joe really liked that the double activation that we've seen coming out of things like Flesh Eater Courts. He went, I'll have a bit of that, but I'll do it in the shooting phase. Double shooting, and then straight into combat. So so we're going to jump over now back to table 1 and see what Luke has decided to do. Luke, bit of a master of micromanagement. Nathan, you play Luke a lot. How does he approach these games?
So, well, he likes to pick. Obviously, with that list, he's got an MSU style list, so he can pick targets and go after a certain bit of the army, delete that bit of the army, and then move on. The other thing he relies on, I think he's still got Voltronus in his list.
He does.
Yes. So he does like to hold back some of the killing power for the High Tide turn when Voltronus can use his command ability. But it being one of the older books, can actually stack that command ability. So he can give up to +3 attacks to each unit, picking on 3 units, I think he does, if he does it 3 times. So as long as he's kept back 3 units and Voltronus, that High Tide turn can become
very scary.
Proper killing time. So
yeah,
feeding frenzy for the eels. So.
It absolutely can. Looking to take those souls of the Kharadrons home with them. Big shout out to everyone who's watching live on Twitch. Thanks for joining us. I can see a bunch of you there. Also, thank you to the Fail Charge for posting those lists in for us. Big love to you. Excited to see you at Brishammer. So there's no score at the moment because you can't score on the first turn. As you can see, Luke's put these 3 here, and he's decided to put a big block of 6 here. So definitely, I think going in early. I think honestly, Nath, the thing he needs to do is just reduce the number of boats.
Yes.
It's not so much like we're going to see in the in game 2, which, by the way, Joe has just started his movement phase on. Oh, I've done that thing again, where I pressed the other button.
Okay.
Where Joe has just started his movement phase. That Royal Ghoul King on Terrorgeist that you see right here, that's the real. It's not the only threat, but that's the big ticket threat.
It's a proper threat. Obviously, the 2 units of 6 flayers are a proper threat as well. He's moved those up to countercharge with, and then moved his less important units, i.e. the 3 flayers and the doggos, into the middle. I assume he's had some summoning now as well.
I don't think we'll find out if he's had any summoning on table 2, but we'll come back to that in a moment.
So probably would have had a summoned on his units, the Blisterkin player.
But no summoning. No summoning we would have heard.
Until the castle is opened up, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think so. I think then what he's decided to do is, I think what Joe's aiming for, because he's got to play this very smart. He can't just do what we've seen him do previously, because what he's done previously is he's just moved just everything forward, because it's super fast. Don't forget he's got +3-inch movement because he's Tempest Eye in the first turn, so he's going to be going really far. He has got a good save as well, but there is almost nothing that can save against a Ghoul King on Terrorgeist. Although yes, it is on Terrorgeist. So that's really scary. And then the flayers as well. And then with the CP that you can see Chris is sat on, he can make the Ghoul King on Terrorgeist activate twice, the flayers activate twice, and the other unit of 6 flayers activate twice. So effectively, even though he's got 12 flayers, he can fight as if he had 24.
Yeah.
And that's going to be really tough.
With this deployment in this scenario, the armies have started really far apart, and even though Joe's army is super fast, super mobile, it doesn't actually have the deep striking ability that like a Kharadron army would. So he can't get at the characters at the back. And like you were saying earlier, shoot the characters is the meme or whatever.
Is the meme.
He can't really do that. At the moment, the only things that are probably within a definite threat range are the chaff units, the expendable units at the front. Aren't deployed in like your standard line across the front.
Oh, I think this is going to be really good. I think
tempting little force.
I would love it if what he decides to do here is just put a unit here and he just stays castled. That's really nice. Like priority happens, he just gives it away. Like, but then I think it's then a game a bit of cat and mouse.
For the the double turn on 2 to 3 as opposed to the double turn now going into second.
Yeah, because then he's just left this here. Depends if we see anything else move. But we're going to come back to this game. I know it's really exciting, but all of them are. JP, in his first turn with Petrifex, has shot his catapults. The catapults have fired into the Blight Kings, but the thing with the catapult shots is they haven't got any rend. No rend.
Blight Kings are quite tough.
4-up save.
Made all their saves, so no damage from the catapult's first turn.
Yeah. Tables 1 through 3 are undefeated. And also Catacross. So Catacross stole his CP. So we're going to quickly talk about. I'll run you quickly. You can see the list in the chat, obviously. Quickly run you through JP's list. JP's got Catacross. He's got 2 crawlers. He's then also got 5 Death Riders, which you can see located at the top there. I think that's a really clever, because you deploy quite thin on there. That's really nice. And then, as you can see, he's got 2 blocks of Mortec. I got to say, the inclusion of the Catacross inside, because it's a Petrifex army, obviously, but the inclusion of Catacross, the trade out for Arcan. We were talking about before, me and Owen Jackson, a big Ossiarch Bonereapers fan. It's a really cool little inclusion, because what he's done there is he's taken out the unreliable bonuses that you get from the spell lore of Ossiarch Bonereapers, and instead you get the reliable relentless discipline points generation from Catacross, giving +1 to hit to those crawlers, and being able to make all those Mortec do what they need to do.
He's also got a Liege Cavalos somewhere.
He's also got a Liege Cavalos who's over there in the corner.
Now, bearing in mind, Catacross is great because of all the debuffs. So like we've seen, he's nicked the command point. He's also got a -1 to hit thing that he just does automatically, doesn't have to roll the dice.
36-inch range.
No,
18-inch
one
range.
is the board.
Oh, it is,
board
of course.
Wide,
yeah, board
and
wide.
Then the tower itself can then pick a unit that's within 18 or 36 or whatever, and on a 4-up make them -1. So he's made the big unit of Blight Kings -2 already this turn. So that does neuter some combat armies quite harshly.
He does. Really. I was going to quickly run you through the Nurgle list, and then we're going to jump to table 1. Gut Rot Spume, Pirates all day. We saw him jump off the board. He's not on the board currently, I think, with 10 Blight Kings in the back pocket. There's a Harbinger of Decay, Lord of Blights, and a Sorcerer, and then there's the ally, the Great Bray Shaman. Then he's got 10 Blight Kings. He's then got 4 lots of 5 Blight Kings.
Yeah, so it'd be one of the 5s that's off the board at the moment.
Of course, and then it's 2 Chaos Chariots, but he's got the Blight Sisters as well, and he's playing Blessed Sons from the new Wrath of the Everchosen. So that means any of them explode, any of them die, they can explode on 2+ and do a mortal wound. They also have got Rend 1. Now, there's lots to talk about. Obviously, the catapults didn't go through that armor save. You can see the Blight Kings have lined up here. So we saw James play against Khorne yesterday, and he seems to have a very similar ideology of how he's going to play this game. He's got the Chariot up here, which, in my opinion, and another Chariot over there, which are 100% going to lose against. Okay. But there's lots to happen. We've got lots to happen, but table 1 is lined up. We've just heard lots of the eel zaps have happened. So if you don't know what that means, these Achillean Morsar Guard.
At the start of the combat phase, they can unleash an electrical charge from their spears, and so they've done that. He's spent his electrical energy early in the game.
And you can only do that once per battle per unit. So a lot of the things that you might see us saying during this game, and we can also see Volty right there. So apparently the rolls were average, but you can only do it once per game. So some of the things you might see as we go through this game is one might ask questions like which units have got any zaps left. Because he's done. So I think he's activated the big unit of 6 with the zaps. I'll just ask that from our table boss, or maybe get. So these have activated their zaps. So this unit in the bottom corner against the frigates. And the unit in the top corner against the gun hauler has done it as well. So there's lots of.
So quite a few mortal wounds have gone through, and then obviously the eels are decent in a fight. I would have thought the Kharadron have got their own start of the combat thing where they drop mines.
They do sky mines.
Yeah.
Like, this is an incredibly narrative army. You got a picture. There's a whole bunch of boats flying through the sky. They're just delivering some probably Aether whiskey or whatever it is they might be doing. Then all of a sudden, a bunch of fish attack them, run by Luke Morton with his Domhine. Yeah. So yeah,
slimy bastards. Oh, we'll get them. Where's our minds?
Yeah, so he's delivering the salmon cannon. Now, one of the things you also have to know is because Luke is playing Dom Hine, there's a tide that happens. So in this first turn, everything in his army gets cover. The next turn, he's going to be able to run and charge, which isn't going to be huge. But turn 3, that's where it's going to get real. He gets basically an always strikes first mechanic through his whole army. Everything he's got can fight. So that's really going to mess up that army. And we've seen a frigate or. Yes, a frigate. And they're not cheap, are they, those frigates?
No, it's 250 points worth of frigate.
So we're in this combat phase. We're going to go into a priority roll after that because this is already turn 1, so there's lots to talk about. We're going to jump over to table 2 now and to see what Joe's decided to do in his movement phase. So as you can see, he's actually not elected to castle Nath, and instead it looks like what he's going to do is he's going to progress. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, he's sort of spread out and taking. And so Joe has opened up, but he's still not committed all of his force. It'll be interesting to see how much of it is within range of the dogs. I assume he can shoot at those dogs, but then definitely doesn't want to be charging them. Blisterkin get an extra pip of speed as well, don't they? They get extra.
They do. Both armies are faster than both armies, Blisterkin and the Tempest are faster than they're meant to be. So it really.
So you see some shooting going.
Maybe he knows actually, because looking at it before, had he castled, then Chris can just sit on the 2 objectives, just do as he wants. Yeah. So you're in this situation where he has to be aggressive. So maybe he's just moving forward, being like, I hope I get the turn.
For the double, yeah.
Yeah, playing for it.
So he's playing for this double instead of the double that we were for 2 to 3. He's playing into the double for 1 to 2.
Yes.
Classic early game charge. So.
Early game play. So which I think is very. There's also, if we just quickly jump back to table 1, there's also a gun hauler down. Look at this, Nath. We've lost another boat. Ben, in his first turn, took out 3 eels, and he's lost now a gun hauler and a frigate for his troubles. With a priority coming up, it's a big turn. So
I personally do think that game's going to go super fast.
Agreed.
So
one way or the other.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think the Kharadron are going to be able to hang on to their whiskey for too much longer.
No, that whiskey's going down, and them horrible elves are going to be stealing it. Right now we're going to be talking to one of my favourite people in the whole world, Owen Jackson. He's going to be interviewing one of my other favourite people in the whole world, Mr. Adi Mack, one of the organisers of the event and one of the chief dragon slayers.
Thank you very much, Rob. Yeah, that's right. I've got Mr. Adi Mack here with me, the TO for the tournament. Tell us a little bit about Sheffield Slaughter. What do you think makes it special?
Well, I think it's special because it is the world's oldest tournament. 23 years we've been going on. 23 years in this same place. Okay, so we started in 1997, and that was January, February. So we've been every month, January or February, right there, right now. So it's the longest running tournament by the longest running club outside of Games Workshop in the world, I believe.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. Must be really nice to sort of have that above the door, as it were. Yeah,
it's nice, and the good thing about it is that we've sustained that over 23 years, and that we have 80 people. We've had 100 people in the past, but that gets a bit cramped. But we have 80 people that rock up every year to Sheffield and play AOS or what was Warhammer.
Yeah. And just looking around the tables, everyone's always seems to be having a good time, and you draw a lot of clubs come. Yeah. It's very much a destination event for the UK scene, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a go-to place for the UK scene. We get lots of clubs. In terms of tournament organising, it really runs itself. We've had minimal rules questions and no beef at all over the weekend. It's been really, really good.
Yeah, I felt like this is my first time to the Davy Sports Club and also my first time to Slaughter, and I've been to 25 tournaments this year, and it's got a really special feel here, I think. Yeah, everyone seems really friendly, and there's just I wouldn't imagine there's any beef or any disagreements.
No, it's all good. Everybody's getting on. You can see even on the top tables, everybody's enjoying it. We've had absolutely no trouble at all. People enjoying themselves. We've got a bar, so keeps everybody lubricated.
Yeah, very, very much so yesterday. There's quite a bit of lubrication going on, right?
Same here as well. And that's how good it is, because he allowed me to have a beer. So
yeah. Absolutely. And did you used to play here in the past, or always TOing?
No, I played in the past. We used to the Dragon Slayers.
Lovely new shirts.
As a club, we used to take it in turns to run the event. So I have played in the past. I've actually won this event during my career and got best sports twice. But yeah, for the last 4 or 5 years, me and Pete Scully have sort of organised it all.
Because that's a big job in itself, right?
Oh, mate, it's the lead up to it is paddock stations and the logistics of it. If tournament organisers out there will know the pain and grief that you get up to the event. Once the event starts, it's sweet. If you nail it down and do your preparation, it's sweet.
And after 23 years, you got your systems down now, right?
Oh yeah.
You guys know what you're doing.
All day long. There's always things. There's people that drop out and go through illness or whatever, too much beer.
Often.
Yeah. But there's something that will always throw you. But no, we're cool. We got it nailed down.
And looking around the top tables, what sort of army would you like to win the event, do you think, just from a personal perspective?
Well, I've always been a death player, so I'd like a death army to win, but I don't think they will. I've heard in Australia recently that Oryx have taken
the top 3 places.
Yeah. So I know Luke Morton's representing from the Dragon Slayers, doing really well. So I've got Andy in my pocket. I want either Andy Hughes or Luke Morton to win.
Sweet. So local pride, yeah?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thanks a lot, AD. It's a fantastic event. At this point, I'm going to pass you back to the guys in the stream, Rob and Nathan.
Right, listen, we are back. Thank you very much. What a wonderful pair of men. We are back with an incredible bunch of news. Over here, quickly on table 1, we've got a priority roll still coming up, but in this combat phase that we saw previously, the Eels engage, it turns out that the Ironclad, which is here, big 500 points a model, that has taken 9 wounds. It used its Aether Gold to reroll its saves, and that's all only from 3 Eels.
Yeah, so, just crazy amount of damage. You would have thought a 3-up rerollable is going to stop a lot of stuff, but no. Still managed to get 9 damage through. 9
damage. So here we've lost a frigate. We lost a gun hauler over here, and now the big bow is down to half damage already. That's an incredibly big turn, and we are going into a priority roll. If Luke gets it, it could be over early. Yeah. We need to jump over, though, because there's some big things happening on table 3. Now, there's a unit of Blight Kings you can see here in the combat phase. This is still turn 1. JP went first. He moved forward. He fired his crawlers, so his big long-range artillery. Didn't do any damage. But what he was able to use, cat across to, as Nathan was talking about, -1 on this unit. And then because of the Ossiarch Bonereaper terrain piece here, activated in another -1. So they were -2 to hit against a 3-up armor save unit that was re-rolling their saves.
So the 10 Blight Kings decided when to go in and only managed to kill 3 of the Mortec Guard.
Who have 1 wound each.
Yeah.
Although he lost 4 Blight Kings in return who have 4 wounds each.
Yeah. Did any of those Blight Kings explode and kill them back with mortal wounds? Yeah.
But they did, and then they exploded mortal wounds onto him because he's playing Blessed Sons.
But then with the
Netherite shields.
It's managed to save the mortal wounds, so wow.
That is outrageous. JP looking super happy there. But the big... and he's rolled a 6 on Battle Shock and 2 have run away. But let's talk about table 2. Cities of Sigmar. Both players lined up. Joe did the big gamble. He's like, I'm going to go for the double turn.
Yes. And he's won it.
And he's won it. So Lucas won it. Not Lucas won it. Sorry.
This is Joe's.
Joe has won it.
The priority, taken the turn, and now he's going to try and take advantage of that, moving forwards basically.
He is.
And try and shoot off.
So he's not as fast now. He doesn't get that +3 movement. But as you can see in the shooting phase, he took out a bunch of direwolves. But really, Joe now is in the ascendancy. But this is a lot of output he has to do. Can he honestly deal with the Ghoul King or Terrorgeist this turn? Because if it doesn't, this guy can walk through. Its combat potential is disgusting, and it can take out so many things. So can he? Was he too conservative the turn before? Should he have ran forward and gone for it all the way? We'll see.
Yeah, because he's still got this. There's 12 flayers in that. 2 units of 6 there, so they need to go into there. And so, yeah, he's got 3 serious threats to try and deal with, and they're still sort of zoned out a bit by these 2 units.
Yeah, they are. They are.
So
This unit didn't run like you said. So where's he going to put them? Not forgetting that unit of that big unit of 15 Pistoliers that you can see at the bottom. They can shoot and then they can charge, and when they charge, they can shoot again. So they're looking to. Who knows what their plan is? And we need to find out what the Hurricaneum and the Griffin are going to do.
Yeah.
But we need to come back to this movement phase because some other. This is a very exciting round 4. Game 1. The priority roll has just happened, and look who is measuring movement.
Yeah.
Mr. Luke Morton himself, Mr. 400.
So he's going to just carry on where he started, just picking off boats. So
he is now in the movement phase. He got the priority roll. He now, after deleting the 2 boats, has got another shot at the Ironclad.
Who's used up its gold now. So.
Yeah, so it won't be able to re-roll his saves. Each one of these units has got the ability to re-roll stuff. And then the Voltronus can go back there. These 3 eels, he's just got this. It looks like a table 2 for Ben. And I'll be honest with you, Nathan, we talked about this game a little bit. I have no idea. Ben, when he played yesterday, when he played against Fireslayers, he got every priority roll. I'm seeing in the chat people are saying, KO need a double turn, or they need to just have the turns go you go, I go, because they can't get pinned in but like this, especially against Luke's army does nothing but combat.
Yeah.
That's all it does, but it does it very well.
And it evades shooting pretty well as well, so yeah, it's a great matchup for the Eels.
Great matchup for them, so I don't think this is anything that Ben could have done potentially differently. He had to engage. He doesn't even have overly massive guns like we see on table 3 with those Mortek crawlers. He has to get fairly close to engage, but written into their rules, is the ability to disengage unless something is flying.
Yes.
So it's huge. It's huge. But again, another big priority roll swing over on table 3.
Yes.
We have heard of James with his Maggotkin and Nurgle. He won the priority roll. He's taken the turn. However, Catacross has again
stopped the command point going through.
Stopped the command point going through and stolen his command point. So he's up against it in this one. So we're now casting Devolve.
So he's dragging that unit of Mortek Guard.
So he's allied in a Great Bray Shaman.
Yes.
And when you ally in, they're allowed to cast their War Scroll spells, and that's why a lot of people take very key allies for some situations. The Great Bray Shaman's an incredibly good one because he's got a very strong spell, the ability to drag a unit forward with Devolve, which is what he's just done. So he has moved a unit of Mortek Guard onto an objective.
That's a weird way of playing the game.
They explain to me why you said that. What do you think? Do you think that's a mistake? That's what I'm hearing you say.
I mean, the object of the game is maybe to control objectives. And if you're going to help your opponent get more bodies onto an objective to double down on their control, that's very generous of you, I would say.
It's
just helping out your opponent, really.
It's why I always leave my front door unlocked when I leave the house. But then that's never enough. So sometimes I leave a door on the front, a note on the front, just saying burglars welcome.
Or else lock the door whilst it's open, so they can't close.
So they can't close it. That's also a good strategy. That works also. So I think what he's really planning to do is shorten these charges so these Blight Kings can go in, these Blight Kings go in. Don't forget, because JP hasn't had another turn to go, this unit of Blight Kings here has not been able to engage. Sorry, he hasn't been able to apply debuffs anywhere else. So all of these other Blight Kings will be hitting at full power, which I think is interesting. If I was him, though, this unit of 4 has to come out of combat.
Well, yeah, there were 10 there, and they're debuffed. So
you just bring them out because he's giving them wounds for no reason at that point. He has also got another unit of 5 Blight Kings here. But the real question is, I don't think Gutrot Spume is on the board, and whether we can see Gutrot Spume come on the back of the board and end up near these crawlers. And like you said, minimum range on those crawlers. I wonder, so it looks like JP's been smart and he's measured this 9 inches and he's zoned out here. And then also probably, this is actually some really nice deployment from JP, and that's why the Kavalos is here.
Yeah.
JP.
He's protected he knows that's a weakness of the crawlers.
That is absolutely rad.
Yeah,
that's really good.
Making sure that this is 18 here, so that there's no 9-inch little hole for you to drop somebody in, and then obviously Catacross being over here, pushing back ambushes even further.
So this gap, as you can see here, you normally would see the Liege Kavalos following along with the Mortet, but he's used that to block up against Gutrot, Gutrot Spume is not something you see a lot at all, but you do see deep striking units, and his ability to do that, I've got to say congratulations JP, that's just some solid Warhammer. It means that Spume, when he pops up, maybe he'll go after the Kavalos. I'm not really sure what the smart play is there, because that Kavalos is in cover. And he's got the Godbone armor, so he's going to be on a 2-up armor save. He's in 3-up armor saves.
Ignoring the first wound.
2-up armor save. He's got Petrifex, so that's a 1-up, and then he's in cover, so that's a 0-up, because he's got +3 to his save currently. Artifact, Petrifex, cover, +3.
And ignores the first wound.
His command trait then is +1 save. Like Godbone armor doesn't that +1 save?
Ignores the first wound of the phase.
2 wounds extra. That's what it is. Thank you. Sorry. So he's going to be on his 1-up save.
Ignoring the first wound that he takes every turn.
Yeah, there we go. All right. But so this is impossible. He's what that's a long way of saying that he's not going down.
To take him down.
Right.
You can't rely on normal damage unless it's crazy.
So let's go over to table 1, which is not going to be long. We're not going to be here for very long.
Yeah. So Voltronus and some eels charged into this frigate.
Wow.
And then
so this unit here, Nath, this unit of 6 with the zaps. No, this unit of 6 with the zaps here at the back.
Yeah.
They have still got their zaps available, so they're still going to be able to electrocute the frigate. There's these 6 eels. Obviously, they're about to go in to
finish off the Ironclad.
The Ironclad.
And there's a gun hauler up there that's probably taken already some wounds from the earlier battle.
He's taken 8 wounds
so it's
already.
Only got 2 wounds left.
This is a full. Like Warhammer Online says, KO need a bigger boat. They need new boats, or they need a Titanic boat, because this is over straight away.
And there we go. Yeah, you would expect to see all of these big. All the big boats going down.
Yeah.
Probably going to be left with maybe 1 down here, but actually Volturnus is in there, so no, probably that's gone as well.
Yeah.
So
you might actually see just a full table wipe effectively this turn.
I think there might be some Arcanauts hiding down here.
Can we also talk about Luke, which we all missed a little bit. So a unit got shot over here, 2 eels got taken out of it, and we ended up with only 1 eel left. What Luke has done, planning this, is he's moved him here, and then he's moved him up here, and he's secured this objective this turn. Just out of just like happenstance, realistically, he's taken an injured unit and has turned it into a positive for a net gain. Put him at the top, grabbed him his objective. But this is total party kill, Jimmy 1080. This is it. Yeah, we were so up for Ben and his KO doing well, but like we said, Luke, not only is a gamer, but with this eel with this army, is an incredibly practiced and experienced player.
Yeah.
So it's really whether or not he's going to take out the event. There are lots of lists and armies he could play next, and there are also more people in it. There's another Idoneth army could potentially take out the event, and like we said, tables 2 and 3 could still take out the event as well. Yeah. So lots to play for going into round 5. So we're now into table 2. Okay. So this is what's happened on table 2. On table 2, Chris measured for the double turn. Yeah, Chris, by the way, an ex-40k player, really aggressively unhappy about the double turn potential. So he deployed away, unable to be shot even in the double. So surely then you just take...
You give the
you
double.
give the turn, right, in that situation.
Hoping for the next double, and that by then the Terrorgeist is in range. Because if the Terrorgeist was that far back, it would have been...
Yeah, I don't think that was the that might not have been the right decision, because now he's going to suffer battle shot. He's going to suffer. He's going to get. He's going to lose that unit down there, not only to shooting but also to combat. This Good King on Terrorgeist is going to activate twice, so he's going to take out this and he's going to take out that.
So now, and the Flesh Eaters are now on the chance of a double. So Joe's given up the chance of this double going into turn 3 as well. If the Flesh Eaters get the double here, you can't really see how the Cities of Sigmar come back from that.
No, which is a shame, because I was really rooting for Joe, but also really rooting for Flesh Eaters. But it's nice seeing Flesh Eater Courts. We saw last year, Flesh Eater Courts launched here at this event. They came second. They went 5-0 last year with the new book, and now a year later they've come back with a Blisterkin build, and might see that Blisterkin build going into the final. There's still lots to play for, though. Not calling it. There's a chance that this charge fails. He's going to have to re-roll it. Don't think Blisterkin get any natural pluses to charge. I know they get extra movement, but the Flayers are going to wreck here.
Yeah.
Let's do some predictions. When you come back, I'm pretty certain at the end of this turn I expect this unit to be gone, this unit to be gone, and this unit to be gone at least.
Yeah.
What do you guys in the Twitch chat think? And also, of all the tables, what are you all rooting for? Nathan, you got anyone that you interested in?
And there we go. Now we see the Hurricaneum is under threat as well, looking at that. They are so fast, the Flayers in the Blisterkin army, aren't they? So, yeah, looks like the Hurricaneum might be going down as well.
Oh, no, this is a disastrous turn. Why would you move where you can be got, right? I mean, so this is still scored, but this won't be scored.
Yeah.
So, as you can see, Joe's jumped up 4 points to 2, so he's in a really solid place. But there's, I don't know. Just going to jump back to table 1, Nate, see if there are any boats left. Yes, right now, while the combat phase is happening, there are some boats. We're holding on.
We'll probably see them getting taken off any moment now, being lifted up.
Let's go. We got this. Let's keep them alive. I'm so excited.
That frigate's still got wound dice next to it, so it's still alive. So that frigate might still be there.
It could well be.
Yeah.
Right, however, the other game that's in contention at the minute, so game 1 we feel is roughly over, but game 3, by the way, roughly over with less than an hour on the clock, so that's fun. Game 3, we're into where we are. So we saw those 5 Blight Kings have gone into the top there, Nathan.
Yeah, Chariot's still holding back. Why is he not charged? I wanted to see what the Chariots did, but it's still just sat there like...
Yeah, we'll double check. We passed the charge phase and we're into the assault phase.
Oh, there's another
combat phase.
Another
so sorry.
chariot down there as well, looks like.
So
yeah.
Why did he do no charging with everything else?
The chariots are just chilling.
He's just failed the charges. Or chariots always chilling. So what, the Blight Kings in the centre? I'm assuming they attempted a charge into the middle. So.
But these have.
These
have been boosted up by another unit here.
Yep.
Those 4 that are debuffed.
So these 5 Blight Kings have attacked this Mortarch Guard unit here. They managed to make their charge, so they're in. So they're hopefully looking to take that. This charge failed, but that would have been a mistake to go into both independently.
Yeah.
And then at the bottom, the Chariot and the Blight Kings are still holding on. And Gutrot Spume hasn't come on the board. So lots to play for. I think what he's Catacross, though, obviously about to be the big bad boy in the middle, and we're into what could be a very dangerous shooting phase. These 2 Mortek Crawlers have got the potential to do 30 damage a turn. That's their output. But that said, good control here. Good control here for James. Yeah. He's got a lot of there's only these 2 Mortek units that can push off the centre. Oh, sorry. So we did find out Guttrot Spume came off. So he came
so
down,
he's
bottom
down
left.
there with those 5 dudes taking that and doubling down with the chariot. So just to score points.
So actually, James has split the board, and he's got the top and bottom, and it's really if he can just keep this centre engaged for a couple of turns, then if hold on till turn 3, he can just be in a really solid place, right?
Yeah. So but basically he's got to make sure that these Death Riders don't do anything, and so he can maintain control there. He's pretty safe down here for now.
So those Death Riders are really good on the charge. I mean, they're not as good as some other charging units like Chariots or Chaos Knights, but they're better on the charge. So you might maybe see those disengage. Potentially, there's also the Harvester as well here, potentially getting involved.
Yeah, so the Harvester, the Mortec Guard have been dragged away from the Harvester, but unfortunately it means they've been dragged into the central objective. Yeah, an interesting one.
Okay, right. Let's jump over to table 2 and see what's happened. Hello to everyone on the Twitch chat, by the way. I hope you're all well, and thanks for joining us. So what you've just seen is Flesh Eater Courts. Joe got the double turn and was not able to do or capitalise with it particularly much. Wasn't able to.
Just killed some dogs.
Just killed some dogs, and I think both me and Nathan feel like he could have progressed forward more. And done more, but now in the shooting phase. So the Flayers, what happens is they roll dice against someone's bravery, and depending on, so that's how they shoot. They basically scream at their opponent, and depending on how brave they are, because they are undead winged bats. As you can see, he's just lifted the screen here again in shooting, which I think is smart because he's clearly looking to grab this Hurricanum. This Hurricanum is a really good unit. It's a wizard. It's got
a lovely buffer as well.
Yeah, it gives +1 to hit, so it's got an aura and it gives +1 to hit to everything, which is why it's there. It's also got a shooting attack, 18 inches, that does 3d3 mortal wounds effectively. It's a really great support and artillery piece, and a wizard.
Yeah.
It's just bargain. You start right in list with it, and you've got a Griffin General here who's a bit of a combat monster. Problem is this screen has gone from shooting, and that's why these Flayers are so good. Is because they can. So is the Hurricane being shot at? That's the question.
There was no screen.
Oh,
you were.
Never mind. Ignore me.
Yeah, there was. So there was no screen here. Joe's just left himself a hole. His screen was here, and over here he's got a small screen in front of his dude.
Not sure about that.
So we're going to probably see a lot of these scream into the Hurricanum, and take it down a peg or two. If not, take it off.
And then as we've seen down here, 15 mortal wounds already done into that unit. Those horses have got 2 wounds apiece, 4 up save, but got no mortal wound save. So they neither does the Hurricanum, so they are in some trouble. Yeah. And then what's good about the Flayers is not only are they good in the shooting phase, well, they're only good in the shooting phase if you're against something with low bravery, as you can see, which he is against. Humans are not particularly brave in the mortal realms.
No, not when there's Flesh Eater Courts running around.
No, they literally, they're covered in flesh. So.
Well, they eat the humans, so that's pretty scary. Man.
Yeah, it's really scary, man.
These dudes are coming to eat us. It's a bit scary.
I wouldn't invite them around my house, especially for dinner. But they also can clear the screens, or their own screens, and then assault after or charge after. So we currently are looking at, there's a charge still on here. There's another 3 Flayers came around here, so there's a loss of this 15 handgunners, right? Or not handgunners, Pistoliers right there. Yeah. We're probably going to see this could genuinely be over very early.
Very quickly, yeah. It looks like we've taken some wounds off of here, so potentially the Terrorgeist has screamed over the top of them. So they'll be taking Battle Shock Test as well. Just so much damage being caused to the Cities of Sigmar army already in this turn. And basically because Joe took the double, he's not been able to take advantage of it. He's given the advantage to the Flesh Eater Court army in this case.
So we're moving over to table 1, and we're seeing if there are any boats left. It looks like we've heard that the Ironclad has done some clever positioning, Nathan.
Oh yeah, so he's piled in because this unit of 6 was tagged in. from the previous combat phase. He's managed to pile in his ironclad around this model here, so he's piled away from those 6, so it means that those 6 won't be able to kill the ironclad this turn, and because they didn't charge in this turn, they were tagged in the previous combat, means they can't pile in this phase. So it looks like the ironclad will survive, albeit only on 4 wounds left, but for an extra turn.
Yeah, because
it's going to drag out the agony a bit longer.
So in order to pile in, unless you have some special rule that overrides it, and we've just seen there another frigate lifted at the top, so it's another boat down. In order to pile in, you need to be within 3 inches of the enemy, or you need to have charged that turn. And a lot of people don't. Some people don't know, like it's a little bit higher end, that if you have charged but the unit in front of you has been wiped out by another unit that's charged it and wiped it out, you can still do your 3-inch piling. So a lot of times what you'll do is you'll charge in a unit and a unit here, as you can see on the screen, and then this unit will activate and wipe out this here, and then you can do your 3-inch piling and then attack the unit behind. Yes. So multi-charges can work really well in that situation.
Exactly, and interestingly enough, I was talking to somebody earlier, that still applies if you've charged in that turn. So if you charge in the hero phase, and then for some reason you're not within combat later on, say you retreated out in your own movement phase, you can still pile in the following combat phase.
That's cool.
That's amazing tech that I talked to somebody earlier about today, so yeah.
That's very interesting. Right, we're jumping over now to table 3 in this Ossiarch Bonereapers versus Blessed Sons, Maggotkin and Nurgle fight. So as we can see in combat, this unit of there was a unit of Blight Kings that went in here with -2 to hit against a 3-up rerollable save Mortec unit, and 10 Blight Kings, by the way, and unsurprisingly, they have lost over 2 rounds of combat. However, the unit of 5 that went in, they weren't -2 to hit, and they also in the Blight Cyst, so that means they're getting rend of 1. So they killed 6. They killed 6 or 7. Unfortunately, though, they have already
Catacross has resurrected a load of them.
Brought back 3. So currently, 20 Mortec Guard have taken on 15 Blight Kings from the Blight Cyst, and
seeing them off.
They're seeing them
easily.
off very comfortably.
Looks like they've lost 2 Death Riders at the top there for the loss of 2 Blight Kings. So James will still control this area of the board, but we're going to see JP probably unleashing his catapults and maybe trying to clear
that's the interesting thing, isn't it? Like JP has this. I really like the Ossiarch Bonereapers army because it plays, in my head, traditional fantasy, right? I've got my infantry blocks, I've got a general or I've got a monster, and then I've got those backline catapults. And I've even got like a little cavalry unit here. Just hearing that the Bone-Tied Nexus, which has got a range of options to choose from what it does, but it looks like JP's opting to again apply -1 to hit on this unit of Blight Kings here. Well, onto
and Catacross has doubled down on that, so they're -2 now.
-2, so -2 to hit, which is effectively you can neuter so many units in the game, right? I think the inclusion of Catacross in this army list is very solid. But yeah, he's got these options here with his crawlers to just threaten somewhere on the board and clear it off. Now, it's not very reliable, and the problem is you do that after you've done your movement phase, so he's going to move, and I don't think it's going to be particularly amazing because he's really only going to move this unit or these. But he's still going to have to move and position himself like he wants to do something before the Mortec crawlers shoot. So I think probably he'll be looking to chip away at the sides.
Yeah, I would say he's looking at probably I would consolidate up here. So try and free up your last 3 Death Riders, take out those 3 with your crawlers, then those 3 Death Riders can go into the chariot, or just because they'll need to charge because that'll be after the movement phase. So charge into that chariot, hopefully take it out. And take the control of this objective, and then I can't see any way that Nurgle can get back control on the center. By then, if the Death Riders control the top right-hand side, then that's going to be strongly Bonereaper territory. Then it doesn't really matter about Gutrock and his mates down here, but the inevitability of it will be that the Mortec guard will just wander on down there and punk them.
Such a death sentence, the inevitability of your bones getting tithed into our army. Yeah, 100%. However, Nathan, something that seems like it's not inevitable is the survival of that ironclad on table 1. Ben is still in it. I think Ben's getting a turn. I think Ben's getting to roll some dice.
So
So he's shooting into this unit. He's rolling. He's now in the shooting phase already. He hasn't got a lot of movement. He can't move out of combat, so he's elected to stay.
Yeah, he's got a volley cannon on the ironclad, so that's unleashed its weapon into the big unit of eels, and I think there's 10 Arkanauts in there as well. So
22 hits
from the volley cannon.
From the volley cannon.
His dice are on fire.
12 wounds into the eels. Oh, out of 12 wound rolls, he only rolled 3 to wounds. So
only passed 3. So, but yeah, so chipping away, and here will be the probably the Arkanaut company. Oh, he's got little rifles and other torpedoes and things. So you could see that unit of 6 eels being taken out, but there's still loads of eels over here. There's a load of eels underneath Luke's armpit up there.
There's more eels on this board than I had in my sushi last night. But a man who is not fishy, right, and won't allow a sticky situation to occur is Mr. Owen Jackson. He's going to tell us what else is happening here at Sheffield Slaughter 2020.
Cheers, Rob and Nath. Yeah, that's right. Slaughter 2020 into round 4. We're about an hour, maybe an hour and a half into the round. So there's lots going on the tables. Obviously, we're just focusing on these top tables with chances to win and players to get the 4-1. So if we start off on Mark Wildman and Ben Van Boel's table, so Duplicitous Tzeentch facing off against Godseeker Slanesh. I think Mark's looking pretty good there. There were 5 chariots left on the board and a couple of small heroes with Archaon mid-board and lots of horrors and all the Chaos Knights still left. And I think the quality of Mark's play, I think he'll get that. In Parr, Simon Parr, his ogre Blood Gullet, the Moor Tribes, against Tom Fretwell. I haven't got many notes on here, but literally Tom's got the complete pin on. He's got all 3 objectives, and he's pinned Parr back into his own deployment zone essentially with all the eels. So Tom Fretwell looking good on that board. In the game between Josh McHale and Adam Hazelwood, Josh with his Hermdar Fireslayers, the 60 Hearthguard, he's coming up against Hallowheart, not something we haven't talked about really much this weekend. And that Hallowheart list is really taking apart the Fireslayers, it seems. I think they're into maybe turn 3, and they've got Purple Sun, Pendulum, Bridge, Comet, Racist Swords, Quicksilver Swords, and the Umbral Spell Portal all on the board. I believe that I witnessed the Nulcidian Icon being taken out by a Pendulum, so I think that Fireslayer's army is going to start to crumble. Table 5, Liam Jordan against Declan. Liam's playing quite conservatively there and letting the catapults do the work, but Declan's pushed one flank with his Varangard and has good control in the centre of the board. So yes, I think that's hard to call, but Declan's making some good plays. In the Greg Shelton Lee Bromley. Now Lee obviously this morning nursing a massive hangover. He's not got the jelly shot power, and he is about to get tabled in 3 turns. Watching Greg roll out Greg's playing this really interesting feck list where he gets a free move in the hero phase, and he managed to get a double against Lee after Lee took the first turn, and over the course of a double he's killed 3 of the 4 Frost Lords on Stonehorn, and he's got ultimate board control. The Flayers are going mental, so yeah, that apart from them handing in the form, that game is over. So yeah, Greg with his Flesh Eaters is going to go 4-0. On table 3 over my left shoulder here, Nikos against Andy Hughes. Andy's got everything on the board. Nikos has got that sort of classic pin. He's got mid-table dominance. All the Fireslayers are down. And in the last 2 games to cover, we've got Stephen Follows against Tony Moore. Stephen, he's shot off the screens and exerting good mid-table board control, but it looks like Tony's weathered the storm and is now pushing out with all the ghosts. And the final game over my other shoulder between James Tinsdale and Gabe Huddleston. Gabe played conservatively in the first 2 turns and didn't take James's bait, it seems. And now he's made a lovely play. He's Hand of Gork, 10 brutes in onto the backfield, and the Maw Crushers come out. So I think, yeah, that's going to go down to the wire, that one. So with that, I'm going to get you back to all the action on the top tables. Rob and Nathan in the booth. Cheers.
Thank you so much, Owen Jackson. Welcome back to the Tabletop Sports Network, Sheffield Slaughter 2020. We're just bringing you the hot goss over on table 1. We saw Luke, the Wonder Kid himself, Morton. Yeah, a man who is kind, beautiful and pretty, playing against Ben, who is also kind, beautiful and pretty, and smiling like a hero, as in his shooting phase, that one Ironclad took out all of the 6 eels.
6 eels, yeah, just toasted them in 1 round of shooting. That was
roasted them.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we were super excited because then we thought the priority roll, then we thought the priority roll was going to happen.
Yeah.
We thought that we thought what was going
that they might have made a game of it.
Yeah, the Ironclad might have just been blowing it away.
Luke using his skills, rolled that dice really well, got that priority roll, and
actually, as he rolled it, he said, "This one is for the missus." Rolled the dice, got the priority roll, and as you can see now, those 6 eels are into there. Ben was laughing his whole way through it, by the way, so he's taking it like a champ, but he is 100% lost this game. Now, talking about games that might be over, table 2, Flesh Eater Courts. What did we say about this phase? Even more is dead than I even initially...
Wow.
Yeah.
Where's the Hurricaneum? Dead.
Yeah, the Hurricaneum just died. We also saw this big block here dead.
There was another block there, actually, that's died. There's 2.
That's also died. These have been charged. Yeah. There was a giant block in the centre here, as we talked about. So so Joe's lost. I think at this point he lost a block of 15, a block of 10. He lost another 10. So he's lost 25. No.
And these guys have taken some wounds, so they'll be taking a battle shock as well, as we have already found out. It's not.
I think in this one turn, Joe's just lost about 90 wounds of dudes.
Yeah.
90 wounds of dudes there have been smashed and taken. Wow, so in this down here, Flayers do mortal wounds on 6s to hit. He's rolled them, and he's rolled 7 6s. They've got 3 attacks each, so that unit in the bottom is deleted.
Yeah.
So they're gone as well. This is incredible work. Don't worry, he's got these 10 fellas up here, though. We're all good. But he's just lost so many wounds in this one turn. Nearly 100 wounds of an army. Average Age of Sigmar army generally sits...
And here comes priority roll.
Joe rolls a 5 for the priority. Chris rolls a 1, so Joe is in it.
Yeah, Joe is going to drag it out for a bit longer. Can you think, can these delete that? Can these delete that all together?
So
these 2?
Well, so actually, let's talk.
And we've got this.
Let's talk about it. He doesn't need to delete. He doesn't need to worry. I mean, he does. But what he needs to do is if he can win this... centre back and hold on to it for a turn or 2, which is maybe unlikely. But he's got a lot of wounds there, and these are very, very good. And we just saw them do a really good job. But all he needs to do is bring all of this to bear here. If he can take that centre, he's got those 2 objectives, maybe for a couple of turns.
Yeah. Has the Flesh Eater still not performed their summoning?
No, we'll find out about that in a moment. Whether or not there's been somebody. There hasn't been any on the board, so I haven't seen any happen on the board. So that's hot news, which I think is fun. A lot of people shouting for Luke in the chat.
Yeah, I believe even Mrs. Morton is in the chat.
What?
Showing her love for a fella. It's good to see family members watching.
Yeah, I think that's great.
tSports.
On the tSports, that's it. As people are starting to realise that this is a really professional hobby, it's a good laugh, and everyone's fun. I'm into it.
So go see what Nurgle and Bonereapers are up to.
We will. So we've just heard that we've had some shooting from the Ossiarch Bonereapers. I think that's right.
Yeah.
So this top chariot has died from those crawlers. and the one in the bottom has taken 5 wounds, which means only one.
Right. Okay. So rather than go for the Blight Kings to free up the Death Riders, the Death Riders have retreated off and shot out the chariot that was guarding that thing.
So he's just held on to the objective as well. I got to say, also solid play from JP here, holding on, having these guys. I mean, he didn't overly get a choice. Oh no, did he? You know, he had a turn and he didn't put his. He didn't put his Death Riders onto the objective. Then what happened was he got baited out off the objective, so charged off the objective, and then he retreated on. Which is a really nice play if he meant it.
3 versus 3. He's going to hold it for.
He is going to hold it. Yep. He's going to hold it right now. And then these crawlers can still potentially do more and clear up that. And what's nice is he can just decide to pick here. Look at what has happened, though, in the centre. And with Gutrot out of play and having landed here, what we've seen is we've seen the Liege Cavalos move forward, give an extra shot
to the catapult.
The catapult with +1 to hit from Catacross here. So he's doing really, really well.
I don't think he gets +1 because this is Petrifex, isn't it?
No, so the +1, so the save doesn't apply, but +1 applies.
+1 to hit
applies.
Oh, okay.
Applies.
Right.
So I mean that's huge, right?
Oh, okay.
So on table 1, we've just seen a handshake. The Ironclad is no more. It is deado.
And it's taken its crew with it because it's surrounded, so it wouldn't have been able to disembark.
No, that Admiral in there has fallen from the sky.
And I think there were some Arcanauts in there as well, so they've all gone down with the ship.
They've gone down with the ship, as they should do, as a good, a good Skydwarf should do. So really, the only game that's in the balance at all, and it looks like it's heavily swinging JP's way, is Ossiarch Bonereapers.
Yeah, well, it's with Joe winning that priority,
Maggotkin.
actually. On the other table, he's got a good chance on that table.
Oh,
so,
okay. So you think 2's more in the balance than I think?
I think 2 is more in the balance than this one. I see this one heavily going in the favour of the Bonereapers.
Same. I agree with you.
These Mortek Guard are going to clear out the centre, but at the same time having enough back on the body, on the objective to control it. And then with the catapults, they'll be able to.
I mean, JP hasn't lost a unit yet.
No, and I can't see him losing a unit.
And we've lost 15 Blight Kings here. We're about to lose 5 up there. Yeah. We're about to lose use this other unit of 5 that's here.
Yeah, the
Harbinger, the Sorcerer, they're both there. They're going to die.
Bray Shaman, I think, is down here.
Yeah, that's in there as well. So, and the Mortek are going to do incredible work. We just saw a moment ago, after they got charged. And not forget that this unit of Blight Kings that they've been they're hitting are -2 to hit because of Catacross and because of the terrain piece. Yeah. So it's just devastating what's occurring. And I agree. Actually, I agree with you. Like looking at the game state now, even we've got a priority roll coming up. I mean, it's just all over.
It's dominant. It's
dominant.
The inevitability of
dominant.
It. Really,
that's what he's doing. So. He's just doing it. Right, game 2. Game 2, let's see what Joe decides to do. He's taking these. Oh, so we have seen some summoning. We did see some summoning in the previous turn. Right. We saw a unit of 3 flayers here.
I think they're horrors there, yes.
Oh, are they horrors in the top right?
Horrors.
We'll find out.
Horrors, yeah.
Horrors. So he's elected to go over there and deal with them in shooting. And so now it looks like everything into the Ghoul King on Terrorgeist if he gets the opportunity to do it. He obviously is in a really tough spot. He's lost that +1 to hit. Taking out the Hurricane was a really smart play from Chris.
Yes.
Taking that out, so it means none of these get +1 to hit. They still get +1 to wound from the General with his Hawkeye artifact. So all those are going to be getting +1 to wound in the shooting phase. But it's whether or not they can do the Ghoul King on Terrorgeist. Now, don't forget, it's not a Gristlegore, so it doesn't have always strikes first, but it does have the worst mechanic that you can have.
It does look like he's just concentrating on that, which I think he can't ignore these Flayers. Because if he just takes out the Terrorgeist in this turn, those Flayers are going to go in and just devastate everything else. He needs to deal with both of these threats.
Agreed.
This turn now.
But the problem is so the worst thing that he could do is obviously send this. I'm pretty certain that the generic command ability, or is it only the Gristlegore command ability that allows them to fight upon death? Pretty certain that's their War Scroll command ability.
I would even no.
Gristlegore only, thankfully.
But I would, even if it meant losing the Griffin in that in that exchange, as long as you clear the Flayers and the Terrorghast. You need to clear both of those threats. Otherwise...
Yeah. Otherwise,
center falls
I mean, that's. I mean, even ignoring that, like, you have to deal with this because I mean, we've pretended this doesn't exist, but this at the bottom is a huge problem.
And it's fast enough to get over there and start that, which is why he's skirted back to here. But he does need to. One of these units does need to charge down here and act as a screen, keeping this block. Yeah, potentially the Griffin even.
It still seems less likely than more likely.
Yes.
Let's be honest. Oh dear. Anyway,
but a good shooting phase.
Wow. So the Pistoliers who rolled.
So they're Outriders.
They're Outriders.
They shoot D3 shots +1 because they're outside of 3 inches. But although they get loads of shots, so he's rolled for loads of shots, 30 odd shots.
Yeah.
But they only hit on 5s, bearing in mind. So
and it would have been better had the Hurricane been up because he'd have hit on 4s. He'd have hit on 4s, so that would have been a huge positive.
So look at that. That's only the hits from those 38, just a handful going through. Looking like 6 shots, 6 bullets have found the mark. That's terrible. Oh man,
that's not gone the way. So not gone through and done anywhere near enough damage. Don't forget the Ghoul King on Terrorgeist got a 4-up save. I don't think.
And because they're Outriders, means that when they charge, they don't get the free shooting thing. It's only the Pistoliers. Get the free shots on the charge.
So he took 6 damage. 6 damage isn't bad. We still got this shooting here. So I'm not 100% certain what his plan is. Like maybe he's like, if I at least go down and shoot in.
Griffin to do some damage.
I mean, the Griffin will take him out, but then he's still got to deal with all this in that turn. He's still not going to hold.
Now. so the second unit.
So over onto table 3 right now. We've heard priorities just happened, and. Yep. And priority's just been rolled, and it's a draw, which means because JP just had the turn, if in the case of a draw, then whoever didn't go second gets the choice. So you're
James,
less likely to be doubled.
Yeah.
So James has got the choice. He is more than likely going to choose to go. But in this situation, like this one Blight King is now isolated. These three Blight Kings are in the fight, which doesn't matter, right? Like. He wants to be in that fight all day long. It's just. I mean, he can send 3 Blight Kings in here for a moral victory, and then he could get 1 and then 2.
Yeah.
To be honest, and then if he's smart, what he does is he retreats to create a screen, retreats to
block those 10 off. From
to block those 10 off a little bit, and then he could potentially hold on to this bottom and the top objective a little bit longer.
For a bit longer, yeah.
Yeah. For 2.
Yeah, I mean, if he can get lucky and kill those 3 somehow, the 3 Death Riders, then he's in with a chance to score points, really, because the Mortek aren't the fastest of fellas.
No, I mean, you can use those Relentless Discipline points from Catacross to add an extra 3 inches to the move.
Yeah. But then you just end out your dudes in layers, stopping them get down there.
Yeah, trying to hold them up.
Yeah, and likewise with these guys, you've got a couple of heroes here and here. You'd just be putting them up as roadblocks, stopping them getting away from the centre.
Okay, however, Nath, the shooting on table 2, he hasn't shot what you thought he was going to shot, but he has charged what we thought he was going to charge, a Griffin. So this is a human being riding a giant Griffin, and he is against a monster, an undead zombie Ghoul King who thinks he's a human on top of a Griffin.
Yes.
Yeah, like he's under a grand delusion.
Probably thinks he's fighting as a dude on a Terrorghast. So they both think they're fighting somebody on a Terrorghast.
Yeah,
they both think they're fighting monsters.
Only one of them is.
But which one? Dun, dun, dun.
It's a real question that we need to ask ourselves in Age of Sigmar. Are humans actually the real monsters of the mortal realms?
Have you looked at yourself in the mirror?
Exactly, yeah. Ask yourself those deep, dark questions on a Sunday afternoon. But don't forget to join us for round 5 later, where we hopefully will bring in you the final games. The Griffin has indeed killed the monster. It's exploded and is doing D3 mortal wounds on units around it, right?
Oh, but he's not even got enough models on the center objective to claim it in this turn either. And now it's going to be the turn of the Flesh Eater Courts, and those flayers are going to go crazy, I reckon, a feeding frenzy.
So the horrors at the top are attacking the Outriders. They're not too bad in combat, but Unit 3 is not going to be enough to take out the 20 wounds that you see there at that top. Question in the chat coming in, is Lee Bromley still alive? He is. Saw him this morning at 8 o'clock having an egg butty.
Yeah, he was the first man here.
First man here. Last man out, last man in. Or first man in, but yeah, he's doing great.
I think he's feeling a bit tired though, and maybe a little bit ropey around the edges, but hey-ho. That's the way it goes at these Age of Sigmar events.
Right, so 2 horrors at the top.
2 horrors killed 2
horses.
1 each.
2 horses. I am fascinated as to what James is going to do in game 3 because he has not given himself many tools to punch back with. So it looks like he has sent his Blight Kings in at the top. Yeah, they're in. That's still there.
Still not
this unit of
-2
to hit Blight Kings are still in combat with the Mortek Guard that just took out 2 of them. Not certain about that.
Yeah, you're just no point in leaving guys in combat if they're just going to die. Just bring them out, even if they just stand there looking at what's going to kill them the next turn. Yeah, it's better than dying straight away.
100%. So, anyway, just. Well, to be fair, they're blessed sons, right? They want to explode. They want to cover people in Nurgle's disease. But those Ossiarch Bonereapers are made of the bone stuff collected in a tithe across countless different realms. So they're not that susceptible to disease. I just love reading the narrative.
This day.
I'm just evoking the imagery for you as a commentator. I hope that's helping everyone.
That's
and
great.
If it's not, then let me know. What's everyone else up to who's watching the stream? I'd be excited to hear what you guys are out. If you've enjoyed the weekender coverage, if you're finding the 3-table coverage a little bit more exciting. Right, so 3 Blight Kings have attacked in that combat phase against the 3 Death Riders at the top. Oh, into the Mortek in the centre.
Oh, okay.
So they have killed nothing because obviously with the relentless discipline points, Mortek Guard have got a 4-up save. In Petrifex they've got a 3-up save, and they can spend 1 RDP to re-roll those saves. But we did hear that is.
That was actually against Death Riders. One, because there's only 1 dude left into the Mortek Guard in the centre, and he's. Just in the off centre. So he's about to go down to the last of those 10. I think there were 10 in that unit originally. 5. It looks like there's still 10 in that unit. So they've taken out 15 Blight Kings, effectively.
That's
once they deal with this fellow, which I think they're about to do now.
10? Do you say 10 or 20? No, I think it started out as 20.
Oh, so for the exchange of 10.
Which is only 20 wounds, by the way.
Yeah.
So 10 wounds, they managed to kill 15 Blight Kings, which is 60 wounds with a 4-up save in comparison. There we go. Kingfisher Games in the chat just quickly asking a question. Trying to Mathhammer Stormcast Eternals Cavalry Heavy for 2,000 point army for my dad. If you look on the Honest Wargamer website, there are some Stormcast lists that get hosted, or there are lists that get hosted, and some rundown. Someone may have listened to some. Or written some out for you.
Yeah, I think Darren on one of the list diaries has done a
Stormcast list.
With a big block of the Dracula riders.
Evocators on Dracolions, who we saw yesterday get whomped by some Hellpit abominations. But don't let that stop you.
Nah.
Don't.
I think there are some lists out there. The Paladors are great as well.
The Paladors are really good actually, and there's also some really good lists for those cavalry units inside Living City, right? With the ability to jump in. Diadrin just tuned him in. Good weekend. It's been an amazing weekend. Can't wait for the final game. I got to say that Sheffield's got its own real vibe to it that's really positive, and I got to say that's down to both of the 2 TOs. Anyway, enough chatting away as we wait for these combats to hurry up. Let's go to game 2, and let's see what the counter-attack from Chris has done. as we have seen, the Cities of Sigmar army, they move forward in a very aggressive line. They then attacked some dogs and then went on to some objectives, but the counterpunch that came from Chris's Flesh Eater Courts army was horrific. We saw a unit of flayers here, which is now moving there. They took out a big block of 15 Pistoliers at the bottom. They also took out a Hurricanum, and they took out 2 other units of 10 in one turn.
Yes.
Now we have lost the Ghoul King on Terrorgeist, but bodies on the board. We've now seen this unit of flayers here go into these. They've got that, obviously, that terrifying shooting attack, which with these Outriders only being Bravery 6 is going to do loads of mortal wounds. Last time we saw 13 mortal wounds come out of that shooting block. Oh, okay, so all these say, but all of these that have just moved into the centre have ran. So
Right.
they can't shoot and charge, so they're just looking to...
So the only engagement is going to be here. They'll scream and then charge, either into finish them off, or maybe a long enough charge to get involved with the Griffin. But basically, all Joe has got left, this unit right at the back that have fight duking it out with a couple of horrors, and then there's a smattering of an army left in the centre, and not looking good for the cities.
Not looking good for the cities at all.
The Blister King have exchanged their lord, but I think basically for a great position on the table. With
to be fair, he
two
only thought he was a lord. No, he was a lord. So the Art Regent, who's at the back, so terrain piece for Flesh Eater Courts allows them to for the use of a CP, or if you're near this terrain piece not for a CP, there's a command ability on all of the kind of characters where they can summon units in. So it's like they feel like they're generals in an army, and they summon a new unit of, they think this is infantryman, like a bunch of like sword
calling
and shield
forth
guys.
some serfs.
Yeah, but they're not serfs. They're not even villagers. They are actually 20 ghouls that are jumping on that back objective. So they're holding that. They're now going to just score that again. Look at this, because he went over here.
Yeah, drew them one way with the horrors,
and then jumped in the
up.
back. That was really good play by Chris.
Yeah, that's
really
great.
solid.
Use the horrors as bait, draw them off the objective, or enough of them off the objective to then the next turn drop your blob of ghouls into the back door and
score
nick the goal.
And score the objective as well. I mean, if you look, he could have. You would think, oh, maybe I'll come down here and hold this, but it doesn't need to, because in this it's what's called tap and go. So he holds this objective, so then he's moved off it. So then he holds this objective now for the rest of the game, unless someone goes over and takes it. Which, with the dwindling number of free peoples that we're seeing,
and they lack the speed. They're in the wrong position to get back around there and threaten that position. So, yeah, he again. Just looks like death is ascendant on the 2 top tables.
Yeah, so we're in the shooting phase now. We'll stick with this table for a moment. This is 5 mortal wounds have gone in there, so another unit. And actually, Nath, as much as the ghouls are here and they're there, Joe gets the priority, and then this Griffin goes to town. You know, it's only, it's 5-4 now. I think there's going to be the Yahtzee coming from Chris. He's going to claim all the objectives. But because it's escalation, each one of the objectives is worth more per turn.
Yeah.
So if late game, which is, it's probably very unlikely. In fact, it's super unlikely, because obviously these are here as well.
Yeah.
But you never know. The Griffin could come in, want this. He's got that. These up here could just deal with this objective. These guys could go and support, and if the Griffin could just battle it out amongst all these flayers, which is, it's a wild hope.
What we're relying on basically is for these Outriders to become heroes and kill these flayers in combat, and these guys to kill these horrors. And they're freeing them up, because then he wins the turn, then he can turn around and shoot them.
all of the ghouls.
And then these heroes that have just slain them in combat can go over here and slay these. May as well do it in combat, because the shooting sucks. And get these guys. So these are the hopes that men rely on in this time. But it looks like death is ascendant on that table.
Oh dear, yeah, very much so. Let's talk about table 3 though, where we think, look at this, Nath. Those Blight Kings are all but dead here. This little one Blight King is definitely dead. Over there, the Liege Cavalry, the Death Riders, they didn't lose anyone, but they also looks like currently didn't kill anyone. We have they haven't even attacked yet.
They're saving it for that rainy day.
But let me tell you, that is it's all over.
Yes.
Nathan, how do you? Hi, welcome back, everyone.
Hello.
Nathan, how do you find like those combat activations? You know, when you got like a whole bunch. When do you decide when to activate it? Is it actually done previously in the charge phase, right? Like, do you think I'm going to charge units XYZ because I'm going to activate XYZ?
Yes.
That's your process.
So yeah, when you're lining up your charges, you're thinking about which units are going to activate. Unless you're in a mad frenzy, then you just go for it.
All the time.
Which sometimes happens.
Yeah, all the time.
Especially as you're playing Grots. If you roll a 6 and you get this long charge in, then suddenly you think, sod it, everybody's going to charge. And then you just start rolling dice. And then you get to the combat phase and you think, oh, why did I do that again?
It's all the time. Yeah, so, and that's some really good advice. Like a lot of what you'll see on the tabletop, especially when it comes to activations, is that it's not the activations that really matter, although that does happen. It's usually predetermined by what you do in the charge phase. And also, a lot of people talk about, they talk about target priority, but you really have a charging priority where this is most important charge, and then we do this. Oh, I hate that Grot Terrorist so much. Let's go back to game 2, right? So the heroes are dead.
Have not performed. And the horrors have become heroes instead.
Oh,
and
dear.
Instead of just killing 1 each, they've decided to take 2 each.
So the horrors that got summoned here, they've killed 2 of the Pistoliers, and then 2 more
ran away.
2 more ran away.
3 more ran away.
Oh, 3 more. Sorry, you keep telling me, and I keep not listening. 3 more ran away, and it's just all over. It's just all over.
Yeah, it's pretty much. I mean, the priority roll would be quite cool to see, but and definitely if Flesh Eaters get that, then it's going one way. But it's going that way anyway, no matter what.
It is. So it looks. So it's definitely going to be a full victory. A full victory going to. There's no way well, hold on. There's no way though that the Flesh Eater course.
That Griffin's got to go absolutely batshit crazy. And just.
He has to go mad. Yeah, he has to go mad. But
and considering he's fighting bats, he has to do that.
He does. There's a real guano up in this. He's going to have to really deal with it.
He's got to get knee deep in that stuff.
Yeah, he just goes just battling through all of those.
He's got a right task on his hands.
He's the opposite of Batman. He's Nightman, fighter of Dayman, I think. But
and these 3 dudes have to perform outrageously.
Outrageous.
Look, there we go.
Yeah. Joe lost the priority now, so he's just handshook on that game. So that is...
The inevitability of death has shown itself again.
Oh, dear. All right, well, solid play. That was really fun. We're going to be able to follow that game again on catch-up, but let's jump over to the only game that's happening. All of these top tables happening very fast, Nathan.
Yeah.
Very fast. We've only got an hour and a half on the clock. Still got a while to go, but let's be honest, this one is very close to a handshake as well.
Yes, I do think so. I mean, the criminal thing you could say this turn is that James lost these units in his own turn when he didn't need to. They could have retreated off, even if they just screened out, trying to stop or just ran towards the other objectives just to try and keep. Because if he can. Yeah, his only chance would be to play the objectives. There's no ways he's going to kill this Ossiarch army, and so staying in the fight with the Mortek was not going to do his hope any good.
No.
So, do his cause any good. So yeah, he may as well just have run for the gold.
He may as well run for the gold.
Try to outscore his opponent.
Yeah,
because at the moment the scores are level.
But it's not going to stay that way.
No.
It's not going to stay that way. Because the most that's going to happen is this unit of Blight Kings here. But, it's there's so much that can go through, I think, very, very soon. If you guys want to check out these lists, there you go. This is Table 3's lists if you're interested. Table 2's list, which we just saw play, are there. And then if you are interested in what happened between the Eels and the KO, those are the Table 1 lists in the chat that you guys can see. If you're watching these on playback, I'll include them in the show notes so you can watch it. You can follow along. And cross off the units as they die. That's one of the aims for the tSports stream, Nath.
Like a bingo sheet.
Yeah, I want to have a printable bingo sheet for people at home so they can just cross off the dead units. Look, let's be real. This game is going to go no way. We are currently the turn we're in.
This is JP's turn.
JP's
so
turn.
He's lining up his catapults.
We're going to stick with this game until the end of this turn because it doesn't matter where it goes from there.
I think this turn decides what happens.
It's over.
Yeah. The more tech, those more tech, they're going to boost up their movement +3, so they're going to be moving 7. So they're going to start threatening that bottom objective. The center is so Ossiarch Bonereaper territory now. It's crazy. And then it's just whether his catapults can just help out these Death Riders and put the Nurgle guys to bed.
Yeah, really. Yeah. If only one of the Blight Kings that's at this top objective gets taken out, then they are in a world of hurt.
Well, at the moment the Death Riders actually hold that objective, so they could just retreat out to the back and just let the catapults try and do the job.
Yeah, don't you have to say
that would be the safest.
That would be the safest bet, which I think JP is going to take. So Pixel, to answer your question, the chat table 1 was won by the Mr. Luke Morton himself with his fishies. So the salmon cannon strikes again.
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah, the real cannon couldn't overpower the salmon cannon.
Could not.
The volley cannon was not stronger than the salmon cannon.
No. And now you know that. If any of you have got guns at home or are thinking of buying yourself a gun,
get one with a salmon in it.
Don't forget to load it with fish as opposed to load it with anything else. That's the stronger play. That's the better bullets, Nath. Yes. Yeah, it's like silver bullets, really, in other fantasy settings. Silvery fish bullets.
Silvery smelly bullets.
You're mixing too many of the different fantasy genres now. You've got it all wrong. So this unit of Mortek here looking to fight the Blight Kings. The Chariot still not having ever charged in a game that I've seen.
Which is disappointing because that's why I would have brought a Chariot so I could run it into people and try and run them over.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, okay. Nice. Nice.
Much like what I do. No, that's not what I do.
Listen, if more action doesn't happen soon, Nathan's going to start saying all sorts of wrong things. So let's get the action heated up. Otherwise, we're going to call it for this round.
Let's see the shooting face. Come on, show us them fancy catapult shots. I wonder if what he could do. I wonder if the Cursed Steel shots are still
Cursed
available.
Steel.
He could use his 2 Cursed Steels, one on each Blight King. Take them off.
Yeah, that would be the gangster way to do it. Absolutely.
Hit them with a cauldron or a steel or whatever it's called.
Yeah. All right. So with
catapults are moving up.
Oh, the catapults are moving. It looks like he's looking to fire. So with this game looking like it's getting into the embers, there are still, of course, 40 more games happening here at the Sheffield Slaughter 2020. All sorts of heroes and legends, miscreants, villains, and boogeymen playing. And Owen Jackson, who is like the curator of them all, is going to let us know right now what's happening. Hello, we stitched him up there. What a classic move. We haven't stitched him at all. Unfortunately his microphone just died because it did. Nathan, let us know what's happening in this game.
Cool. So it looks like we're in the shooting phase, and catapults are Oh, the catapults are aiming at the chariot. Nobody likes the chariot. Chariot's not charging. Somebody's shooting at it. I mean, but both catapults aiming for the chariot. I wonder why he didn't like the chariots. I mean, there's... never mind. So, chariot died to concerted catapult shooting. And we're going to see some charges now, I guess. So, the Mortec in the bottom left will be charging.
Okay,
no?
Hold on, Nathan.
No, we've
listen.
just gone straight into combat phase.
We're going to go straight into the combat phase, but this time back through the form of expressionate dance and interpretive theatre is Mr. Owen Jackson. I apologise about that loads.
Good, it's fine. So yeah, after a little techie glitch, I think we're back and you can hear me, for people who want to hear me. So it's a beautiful sunny day. You know, behind me about how the sun is shining in on the Davy Sports Club. But the sun is setting on several players' hopes of winning this tournament, and I'm going to bring you that information now. So, behind me, looking at the two tables, which we both have players on 3-0. Stephen Fellows against Tony Moore. Steve really went for it on turn 3. He had the opportunity to shoot at Nagash with all the iron blasters. He had an opportunity to charge him with a big unit of iron guts. And also get some characters in there and really try and take a big dent out of his army, but unfortunately that didn't work out. The Iron Blasters only took 3 wounds off Nagash, even with the -2 rend. I think Tony made a couple of saves there. And the Iron Guts failed a charge even with a reroll. So I think with Tony still getting good mid-table board dominance, I think, well, Stephen seems to think that Tony's got that. It'll be tight. Looking across the other tables, Mark and Ben are still having a really big ding-dong between Zinch and Slanesh over on table 9. I think Tom Fretwell's definitely got it against Parr. He's just running out of bodies. I think, yes, that's actually confirmed now. Andy Hughes and Nikos over on the table behind me. Nikos went for the pin. It was a great move. He held him there in place for a while, but the power of all those Hearthguard managed to punch through in the end. So, Andy Hughes gets the win there. And then over my shoulder here, I've got to talk to you about a fantastic move. Mr. Leo Rautanen will appreciate this move that Gabe pulled off on turn 3. So what he did was he Hand of Gork 10 brutes in behind James's eels. He then charged in the hero phase, retreated in the movement phase, so that he was outside of turn 3 high tide striking first. But because he charged earlier in the same turn, he was then, even though he retreated, he was then able to pile back in. So he negated the turn 3 high tide, piled back in, and killed 8 eels with 10 brutes. It was a massive swing, but I do still think that even though that's a valiant effort, I think James winning priority into turn 4 is another swing in the opposite direction. So I think James is up 7-3 against Gabe. So it's obviously James Tinsdale with his Idoneth against Gabe Huddleston with his Big War. And the Maw Crusher's gone. There are still plenty of eels on the table. So I think James is going to take that and move up into that 4-0 bracket, joining people like Luke Morton and obviously the guys you got on the stream. Outside of that, Tom Bell and Alex Bruce still having a bit of a ding-dong. Liam Jordan's Petrifex Elite won through against Declan's Corn, so he's on a nice high 3-1. And I think that's it, really. If I was going to call it now, I would probably say we're looking at Tony Moore and James Tinsdale to progress through on the 4-0s. So, that's the state. We're all going to have a nice bit of Sunday lunch now. So, I'm going to pass you back to Rob and Nathan in the booth.
Welcome back to the show. Sorry, I just brought us to the wrong table there. Sheffield Slaughter 2020. We've called it on table 3.
Yeah, I think that game's over. So the other catapult then finished off the last of the Blight Kings up here. So now the Death Riders definitely own this territory. The centre obviously is the Mortec Guard in the centre have started to engage the little characters that were there. So they're not long for this world. And then the Mortec Guard and the Harvester have both made long bomb charges into this Hormos down here. And so
that is the game.
That's going the way of
The fishes.
Bonereapers.
Hey, there we go. All right, so we are going to come back to us. Hello, us. So
I'll stop stretching.
Yeah, there we go. So I'm Rob. This is Nathan. I wish I was Benjamin Sava. I'm not that cute. But yeah, 3 amazing games. We saw Eels take it really early. That double hitting into those boats, pretty impactful. And then, obviously, we saw the double turn actually go the other way. Joe moved aggressively forward in his double turn, but then the counter punch from Fleshy, of course, was so devastating he had no counterplay.
Yeah, he wasn't able to take advantage of that double turn, and really, I think he should have given the turn away because they were still that far apart that the amount of damage either army did to each other wasn't going to be enough that turn. But then the counter charge from whichever army was then going to be countercharging would have been a lot more effective, and so the Blisterkin just took advantage of that and took off those cities' horse riders.
They did, and then in that final game, obviously, Nurgle just ran into the Petrifex, and the Petrifex just absolutely pushed them back and battered them. It was really tough. The minuses to hit, making a big impact, and then those crawlers doing some okay work as well.
Well, they've not lost a unit, have they? The Bonereapers?
No, they haven't lost a unit. A big shout out to Kharadron as well. That inclusion by JP in the army, I think really swings that game, being able to make a unit -2 to hit. Those relentless discipline points. He also
robbing all the command
points as well. Really clever.
He's a proper thief, that guy.
Right, so join us for round 5. We don't know who's going to win yet. There's probably going to be at least 4 people could take the event out, so there's loads to play for. Obviously, there are also loads of other games as well. There's some best sports votes. It's a great event at the Sheffield Slaughter 2020. Looking forward to Sheffield Slaughter 2021. Sounds like we're living in the future. Very good. There's some cool stats, like 10% of the field here are Tzeentch, but also 10% of the field here are Eels. Not that they've necessarily played against each other particularly much. I saw my stream buddy and good friend Nikos playing with his Dungers against Andy Hughes a minute ago. I'm looking forward to seeing what happened with that game.
Yeah.
But loads more to come. If you've enjoyed it, please let us know. Follow us on all the right places. Leave some comments. Let your friends know. They can watch it back live on tSports Network YouTube, or you can watch it back on Twitch as a VOD. It's all free.
Discuss amongst each other why there's no Tzeentch on these top tables.
You can. Probably because no one decent was playing them, was my pick. Anyway, so Nathan's been great. Big shout out to our table boss, Mr. Benjamin Sava. Big shout out also to our infield reporter, Owen Jackson, and our intern Matt, who's been doing an amazing job this weekend. Also big shout out to our man behind the scenes, Tom Layton, bringing us all the hot info. Anyway, you guys have been wicked. We'll see you soon and have a nice day.
Cheers.
Oh no, join us in an hour. Join us in an hour. Don't have a nice day.
Still have a nice day.
Well, yeah. Join us in an hour. See you soon.
Have a nice day.